move. She's too damn strong.
Hey, yo, C3, you wildin', man. Hey, yo, C3. Come here, that's how you feel.
In a new lawsuit, Sean Diddy Combs' second son, Christian Combs, is accused of assaulting a crew member working on a super yacht. That suit was filed here in Los Angeles.
Reputation is tarnished. They're also being implicated in some of his crimes. They will be pariahs. They're going to be worse off than OJ's kid.
Christian Combs is out here moving like he wants a cell next to his daddy. Because why on earth would you fix your lips to come for 50 cents when this man has been filing receipts, documents, and screenshots for the last 2 decades? And speaking of receipts, guess who popped back up? Yep, Jaguar Wright slid into the chat and dropped some wild footage of Christian. And after seeing that, I'm starting to see why folks are saying Christian is Diddy 2.0. Now, y'all already know Christian has that lawsuit still hanging over him, tied to that alleged situation on Diddy's yacht, where a female crew member claims he attacked her and tried to spike her drink. And in case you were wondering, that case is still very much open. But instead of laying low, Christian is out here poking the bear and publicly threatening 50 Cent that he'll put hands on him. And of course, 50 wasn't about to let that slide. He clapped back with quickness, and now the internet is dragging Christian for even thinking he could step to 50. But listen, it's bigger than jokes and memes, because if even half of what Jaguar is hinting at is true, Christian might be way more involved in Diddy's mess than we thought. Alright, let's first talk about Christian Combs out here once again being a keyboard warrior and threatening 50 Cent. So after 50 bragged about his Diddy documentary being #1 on Netflix and beating Stranger Things with this, Diddy's son Christian, aka King Combs, hopped on X and threatened to put hands on 50. He really said, "On my dad, if I ever see 50 Cent, I'll slap the F out of him." Now y'all already know the internet was not having it with Christian acting all hard like he grew up in the streets. When let's be real, he probably hasn't thrown a single punch in his whole life. Someone said, 50 was in trenches at this child's age. Diddy's son grew up with maids and he ain't slapping no one. And another user wrote, "And the little one is trying to rise? LOL. Birdie, you better find someone else to test your wings on, cause I assure you, 50 ain't the one, LOL." Now, young 50 would have definitely went looking for Christian, but mature 50? He's just gonna hit you with a lawsuit and make a documentary about you while he's at it. So after 50 saw what Christian said, he just laughed it off and told Christian he better stay in his lane. 50 responded on X saying, "Little bro, first, close your damn mouth when you take pictures. I've been rich 3 different times, sold records, sold shows, sold liquor, sold power. You still living off Wi-Fi and legacy. Relax." But here's where this gets a little more serious. Jaguar Wright also joined the chat, and she said Christian might want to disappear for a minute, because if 50 ever decides to start really digging into those allegations, that's a whole new documentary waiting to happen. Now, if you watched 50's Diddy doc, you know he didn't really go too much into all those allegations about Diddy's sons. But that doesn't mean he can't go there if he feels like it, especially when it comes to Christian and his brother Justin. And according to Jaguar, these two are allegedly way more wrapped up in Diddy's whole freak-off operation than the public could even begin to imagine. Jaguar said that Diddy basically molded his boys into his little mini-me's from day one, keeping them on a tight leash the whole time. And according to Jag, the reason Christian is out here lashing out and threatening 50 is probably because his daddy told him to. Christian knows if he steps out of line, his own mess could come out and he'd lose access to Diddy's fortune. Let's be honest, Christian's not exactly blessed in the talent department, and if he wasn't Diddy's kid, he'd be clocking in for a 9 to 5.
Why do you think Diddy's kids spoke out publicly?
What choice do they have? When you're dealing with the kind of narcissistic control freak that Diddy is, and you raise children under that, the financial abuse for all of them is probably the worst. Because there's no way they can make money without him. He has them locked in. They're not fighting for their father. They're fighting for their survival. What they all gonna do? Go work at the Good Burger or with the Wall Burger? What they gonna do?
Right. This is
what they gonna go? They gonna go and open up a bunch of very unusually small chicken thigh restaurants with the rosé?
His reputation is tarnished.
His reputation is tarnished. They're also being implicated in some of his crimes. They will be pariahs. They're going to be worse off than OJ's kids.
Now let's dissect this part where Jag said Diddy's kids are allegedly implicated in some of his crimes. So we know Justin was named in that lawsuit filed by Diddy's former producer Lil Rod, who alleged that Diddy and Justin were involved in a shooting at Chalice Recording Studio in Los Angeles back in September 2022. But Christian, he's got a whole separate lawsuit filed against him by a woman named Grace Omarque, who claims that Christian SA'd her while she was working as a steward on a yacht chartered by Diddy in late December 2022. According to Grace's lawsuit filed in the LA Superior Court, in the early hours of December 28th, Christian pressured her to take a shot of tequila, and she immediately started to feel weird and suspected that the drink was laced with something. After that, Grace alleges that Christian started kissing, grabbing, and touching her on her private parts without her consent. According to her filing, Lil Rod has an audio recording of the alleged incident, and she actually attached a transcript of the recording, which reportedly shows how Christian kept her from leaving the room. In the transcript, Grace says, "Excuse me, you don't touch my legs like that." And Christian then responds, "Listen, you and everybody in the crew." Grace then tries to leave, but Christian allegedly blocks her and asks, "Who can I talk to? I'm going to say I requested you right now." Grace also submitted photos with her lawsuit, showing the marks on her body from Christian allegedly grabbing her and holding her down against her will. And according to Grace's complaint, she went straight to Diddy's chief of staff, Christina Karam, to report the incident, but she reportedly just brushed her off, and then later, fired her. Of course, Christian's lawyer jumped in ASAP and denied everything, telling CNN that the lawsuit is full of manufactured lies and irrelevant facts. But here's the thing. Christian's lawyer also said they would file a motion to dismiss Grace's claims. But so far, the case is still alive and kicking. And that's saying something, because a bunch of other lawsuits against Diddy and his alleged accomplices got tossed out quick, but this one is still ongoing. In fact, according to a recent report by The Guardian, other accusers have come forward as well, including one who alleges that both Christian and Justin Combs were involved in a disturbing group attack on a Jane Doe back in 2017. And this right here is exactly why Christian coming for 50 Cent makes 0 sense. Unless, of course, Diddy threatened to drag him down with him unless he spoke out against 50. At this point, it's clear that Diddy's a narcissistic parent, so don't expect him to care about his kids' well-being. If he did, he wouldn't have been moving like this all these years and putting hands on their late mother. But don't get it twisted, fans are not out here feeling sorry for Christian. Instead, they're saying he needs to be investigated too, because he seems deep in this whole mess. One fan commented, "I've said it once and I've said it again. Diddy has turned Christian into him." And then someone else wrote, "Am I the only one who's not shocked? Like, of course he might have been involved. He grew up in that environment of his father throwing parties. It's guaranteed he's seen and experienced all there is that his father allowed him to." But I want to hear your thoughts on all this. Why do you think Christian is openly threatening 50 Cent? He can't be that slow. So do you think Diddy made him do it? Could Diddy be blackmailing his own son? Drop your comments below and don't miss this next video.